I swear I change my clothes. It's just that I tend to record a whole bunch of these at once, and I'm not going to change my shirt for every one of these because who knows if persons or persons unknown are going to watch more than one of these. Hey, how are you? I'm Mark, and welcome back to another episode. Sure. I'm having an episode. Oh, he's having an episode again. I'm having an episode of From the Markives, which is what I sillily call my collection, which is troublingly large of physical media. So I've got a box on my lap that you can't see. It is somewhere in the neighborhood of L through P, probably in the alphabet. These were pulled off a nicely organized shelf when I had to redo a basement, which is quickly going to be redone. So as I said before, there should be one of these coming up where I'm like every other person who reviews things on the internet. I always try not to be. I'm probably worse than most people who do reviews on the internet, but I try to not be another guy sitting in front of all his physical media. But for that, I probably will. Anyway, what are we pulling out first? I'm just going to do 4, mercifully short for you. Ooh, I'm going to react positively to everything I pull out and smile and giggle because these are all films that I purchased and kept because I liked them. Not a lot of people know about this movie, but it's really good. Directed by Bob Clark, who gave us A Christmas Story and Black Christmas and Baby Geniuses, comes Murder by Decree from the 70s. This is Christopher Plummer and James Mason, and this basically, in a nutshell, is Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. It's really well done. It's really cool. It's grim. It provides, yet another theory or one of the many, many theories about Jack the Ripper. I said in a previous one of these videos, I'm fascinated by the whole Jack the Ripper thing because it's like that in the Kennedy assassination and some other things. There is no answer, and we probably will never get an official answer. And if we do, nobody's going to want to believe it. So there's so much wiggle room with what we don't know that there's so much room for fiction and fantasy and theories and all that. And this movie delves into one of those incredibly well-made and well-performed film. This is the Anchor Bay release. This is, I think at the same time they put out a tape and a DVD that looked the same way. This, again, like so many things, probably has a much better edition on Blu-ray. I don't know if they ported over the extras. This is widescreen commentary with Bob Clark, theatrical trailer, behind-the-scenes still gallery poster, and still gallery talent bios. Remember those? And the original screenplay is on a DVD-ROM. There was a lot of that stuff they used to do on discs and when DVDs were first hitting for value added, where they would throw it in your computer and you can get all this other stuff. The Detroit Rock City disc is amazing. You throw it in there and you get this faux issue of Dynamite magazine that's all about Kiss or Dynamite style magazine and a lot of stuff. But over time, whatever the programming was, I don't know if it's going to work if your computer isn't a PC that runs Windows 95 at this point. But anyway, Murder by Decree, really, really good. Pretty highly recommend that one. Then we have, I love these. These were really formative for me. These were really important for me. MGM Midnight Movies series. This was a series of DVDs. They were pretty much all American International Pictures. And when DVD was first hitting, MGM, who owned the AIP catalog, just went all in and released a ton of AIP stuff as double features. They don't use the original posters for the covers, but they mock up things that look like the original posters. And then on the back, you get a little mini version of the posters. These are double-sided discs, so each side of the disc was one movie and its extras. They weren't always loaded with extras, but they had them when they could. The transfers were always great. A lot of times they would be pulling out of the vault a harder cut of the film, let's say, than got released here. Like you would get The Vampire Lovers, and it would be the R-rated version that never played theaters here, the European version. A lot of times that would happen, or slightly different in a good way, like a bit more than we ever saw before versions. The movies were widescreen for the first time, for the most part. Not all anamorphic, unfortunately. So some of these original Midnight Movies discs, if you pop into a Blu-ray player now, they're only going to look as good as a DVD from the early 2000s would, but they sometimes are not anamorphic. So it's that whole thing where it's a square in your screen, and in the middle of that is the letterboxed image, and that's usually grounds for the garbage for me. So 2 films on here I don't remember terribly well, but 2 biker movies, 2 AIP biker movies, of which they made a lot. We have The Miniskirt Mob and Chrome and Hot Leather, which is a Wes Bishop and Lee Frost joint, both in widescreen, anamorphic widescreen. Yes, both in anamorphic widescreen, which explains why I still have this disc. And they're just fun biker movies from '68 for Miniskirt Mob and '71 for Chrome and Hot Leather. No extras beyond just having, subtitles if you speak a different language, and a little mini version of the poster. And they have a little blurb on the back that usually is taken from like the original Variety reviews, the original press book or something like that. So you can't go wrong with the midnight movies. I have kept most of these. I don't know if I ever got every single release. I got most of them at the time, but as these are getting re-released pretty much everywhere, a lot from Kino on Blu-ray, I'm upgrading as many as I can or I'm interested in. For some of them, like for these movies, these are anamorphic widescreen. These are fine for me. But some of my upgrades so that I can get them anamorphic or because they have more extras or whatever. So that's one more. Fun one. Again, MGM Midnight movies, single feature. Most of them were doubles, but some were singles, especially the earlier ones were singles. The Monster That Challenged the World. It is a early 60s. It is a 1957, late 50s black and white monster movie about like this giant kind of caterpillar thing that rises up out of the water and kills people. It's just a fun monster movie that, if I am not mistaken, yes, features Hans Conried and directed by Arnold Lavin. So again, the covers are mock-ups that would look like old style posters, but on the back they always gave you a little mini version of the poster. I'm always particular to just putting the damn poster art on the cover of these things. For me, it's like whatever sold this movie when the movie came out, those people knew that was enough to get butts in seats, usually more so than the actual content of the film. Let's just put it on the cover. All right, that is 3. One more. What's it going to be? Remastered edition. It's probably since been remastered even better than this, but this is Macabre. This was William Castle's, I believe, first horror film. He'd been making movies for a while. He did noir films and westerns and all that, but he also really excelled in horror. This is a Warner Archive release from, what year is this film? It's, the font is hard to see. This is the film that, let's see, 1957. I believe is when this film came from. William Castle movies are great if you haven't seen them. He was sort of like I don't want to say poor man's Hitchcock because I really like William Castle movies. A lot of times the way they were shot and cut and lit, they kind of felt like they were TV of the era in the best way possible. Just because they're made really cheaply and efficiently, but they're well made. They're good twists and turns. They're fun casts. They always had gimmicks, and a lot of times William Castle would appear on screen at the beginning of a film to talk about the gimmick and tell you what you were about to see. And this one was that all audience members were insured against death by fright while watching Macabre. And I want to say the end of this movie also has sort of something like a fright break. I could be wrong. It might not be this one. I thought this movie had a little bit of a thing at the end where there's a clock or a narrator comes on and gives the audience a chance to either flee and not be terrified by the ending or a chance to figure out who the killer was. I know Homicidal did that, but I feel like maybe Macabre did. I could be totally wrong. So that is 4. That is 4 from my box. That sounds crude, but it's not intended to be. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have anything to say, please comment below. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, please keep your opinions to yourself. If you have any memories of these films or can inform me more about any of these films, I would love it. I'm always looking to learn and not be incorrect. So until next time, I am Mark, and I will see you from the Markives. Technically, this isn't the Markives. It will be a room, and I will probably do these from the Markives. But for now, we'll just call it, because these are from the Markives.